Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to pick up where we left off, and that is in 1 John 2, verse 2 through 6. I want to remind you of the fact that when the Bible was originally written, there were no chapter or verse divisions. So some of the breakdowns that we have by way of chapter and verse divisions are somewhat artificial. So we're going to deal with this next paragraph. So let's get started here. As a general summary comment here, this deals with the expiation of Jesus for the believers, the world, and then the subsequent Christian responses. So, in verse 2, the translation, Kai autas hilasmas estin, and he is the expiation. I prefer the term expiation rather than propitiation for a number of reasons. Periton hamartion hemon, concerning our sins. And then we have that negated, not concerning ours alone, meaning our sins alone, but even concerning the world, the whole world. So we have the, with that mention of the whole world, used in an inclusive sense. This next heading, obedience to Jesus' commandments, has to do with relationship with Jesus. Kai en tuto genoskamen. And in this we know Hati egnokamen autan, that we have known him. Egnokamen, perfect active indicative, first person plural. If his commandments we should keep. Teromen over here, it's a contract verb. This is a present active subjunctive, first person plural, if we should continue to keep his commandments. Now, by way of contrast, we have disobedience, and this expresses itself in the fact that there is no relationship with Jesus. The one who says, or the one who makes this claim, and we saw that before in the previous paragraph, egnoka autan, I have known him, and not keeping his commandments, or while not keeping his commandments. Teron here is a present active participle, masculine, singular, nominative. It's negated, while not keeping his commandments. Sustes estin, is a liar, and in this, meaning in this one, the one who is making the claim here. The truth is not. Now, by way of contrast, we have obedience, a relationship of love. Hastaan tere. Tere there, present active subjunctive, third person singular. But whoever should keep his word, truly, here we have an adverb. In this one, the love of God has been perfected, has been completed, has been brought to maturity. That's a perfect middle passive indicative, third person singular. And then in 5b, en tuto, in this one, we know that we are in him. So, en tuto, in this one, or probably by keeping his commandments, we know that we are in him. And then the final verse of this paragraph, the one who says, en auto mene, to abide in him, meaning the one who claims or says that he abides in him. And then we have aphele, present active indicative third person singular. This verb aphelo, I ought, I owe. And this is a red flag word that is always looking for a complementary infinitive. So here it is linked up with the verb all the way at the end, peripatein. That's a present active infinitive, to walk. So ought to walk. And then kathos ekenas, just as even that one, peri-epatesen. This is a first aorist active indicative, third person singular, that's coupled here with autos, referring to Jesus. Just as even that one himself even walked. So let's make some comments here. Now, the previous paragraph with the dark light triads dealt with the issue of human sin. And we found the importance of keeping short accounts, of acknowledging, owning up, not being in denial of what the light reveals. Now the evangelist explains how forgiveness of sins is mediated. He is the expiation, hilasmas, for our sins. And the word expiation means the vicarious and personal sacrifice for another. And we can also notice the repetition of the pronoun peri. And we go back to this slide here in verse 2. Peri, peri, peri. And then we can also observe a relationship of progression, that is building. And it has to do that he is expiation not only for us as believers, but for the whole world, seeking to bring them into relationship. En tuto, by this, is instrumentation, means by which John's community knows, gnoskamen, that they have known him. Egnokamen, perfect tense. Remember the perfect tense, past action with extended results. We have known him, and the results reach up to and include the present. The demonstrative pronoun this refers to keeping his commandments. If we should keep or continue to keep his commandments. Now, a claim to know coupled with not keeping his commandments, that's the cause, leads to the declaration, that's the effect, and the declaration is twofold. He is a liar, and the truth is not in this one. That is, the one who disobeys, the one who doesn't keep his commandments. So here we have a lifestyle of obedience, that's the cause, and notice here that we don't find a claim as the previous. Leads to the affirmation of God's love. God's love in this one is in a completed condition. That's the effect. And notice here the perfect tense of this verb. So whoever should keep his word, truly in this one, the love of God has been brought to perfection, or brought to completion or maturity. We have repetition of en tuto gnoskamen, hati, from verse 3. Then we also discover a progression now in that knowing him now expands to the affirmation that we are in him. That is, we are living in the sphere of being in him. So, here in this we know, that we have known him, perfect tense, and in this we know that we are in him. Now, this verb meno, I'll comment on another slide. It is so central to the Johannine writings, and it is used predominantly in the fact of an abiding, continuing relationship. It expresses the language of mutual indwelling. Whereas in the Synoptic Gospels, it's used primarily in the sense of a literal staying in one place. So in verse 6, the claim to abide, cause, should lead to a corresponding lifestyle. That's the effect. So the one who claims or says that he abides in him, phele, ought to walk. Peripatein is a complementary infinitive that builds from the verb aphelo. We also have a relationship of comparison between how that one walked, that is Jesus, and how believers should walk. And let me make a remark here. This verb peripateo is a thoroughly Jewish concept, and it has to do with that of a lifestyle of walking in a certain direction. And we can also observe here a relationship of repetition of the verb tereo, I keep. So here we have Jesus himself sets the standard, the bar, to gauge Christian conduct. And let me suggest to you that the keeping of the commandments in the Johannine sense predominantly has to do with love, and that certainly is the topic of the next paragraph, in that the commandment specifically is focused on love. So thanks.